Okay, in this video, we're going to make some birthday cake cocoa bombs. It's cocoa bomb season approaching, and we are about to get into it. So I'm using almond bark, and I'm just going to break up some blocks here and place them into my glass measuring cup. And we're going to warm this up in our microwave in 30-second intervals, okay? So you just want to make sure that once you warm it up, you want to do it 1 or 2 times, zap it 1 or 2 times, and then kind of stir it up some. And then you'll continue to do that maybe 3 times at the most. You don't need to do it much because once it gets hot, it'll continue to melt down. Now, I did go in and add more of the almond bark because I needed a little bit more into my cup. Now, I'm just going to stir it just to make sure that all of the lumps are out of it. And that's what you see me doing here until it melts completely down. And I'm just stirring until, again, like I said, all of the lumps out of it. But this is one of the reasons why I like the almond bark, because it does have a really nice, smooth and creamy consistency, which makes it very easy to work with. Now we're going to get some parchment paper because we're going to lay some parchment paper down here on our silicone mat. So that way when we start working, it'll be a lot easier to clean up our mess, because sometimes this can get a little bit messy, but we're going to try to keep it as clean as possible as we move along. Okay, so now that we have that situated, I have the birthday cake shake by Sonic brand mixture here. And I found this at my local Walmart. And I thought to myself, this would be really cool in a cocoa bomb. So I'm just going to open this and I'm going to pour some of this into the chocolate. So this is what's going to give the cocoa bomb that flavor. So I'm just going to add like 2 teaspoons, but I made them really big because I wanted to make sure that you can really taste the flavor of the birthday cake mix. So I'm just adding that into my melted almond bark, and I'm gonna stir that up. Now it does make it a little thick, which is good, which is fine, because we do want a little thickness to it when we put it into our mold. So if it gets a little thick for you, that's perfectly fine, as long as you're still able to work with it. So I have my silicone mat here, and I'm just going to take my spoon and just kind of pour some into my silicone mat, and I'll repeat that process until I'm done. Okay, so now that we have our mixture into our silicone mat, I'm just using the back of the spoon to kind of move around the side, to move the mixture around the sides of the mold, because we want to make sure that the mold is filled in completely, and not leaving any holes or any thin spaces. So just kind of spreading it out throughout the mold using the back of the spoon. I mean, of course, you could use a brush. If you have like a food brush, you can use that. I just found that the spoon was a lot easier. So once I do that, I just kind of shake the mold to allow the mixture or chocolate to move around in the mold. And then I go back through it to make sure I'm filling in any spots that may be left untouched. And I'll just repeat that process until I feel that I have my molds filled in completely. Once that's filled in completely, we're going to place that in the freezer for about 5 minutes. Now I have a little sandwich bag here. I'm just going to place it inside of the cup, and we're going to pour some of that remaining chocolate mixture, birthday cake mixture, into our bag here, because this is what we're going to use to drizzle over our cocoa bombs. So all I'm doing is just putting it into if you have piping bags, that's fine. I'm just using a little sandwich bag, and then I'll cut the end, which will allow me to be able to drizzle over the cocoa bomb once they are complete. All right, so now we have our hot cocoa. I am just using the Swiss Miss You can use whatever brand you like. It doesn't matter. I do have the Swiss Miss Hot Cocoa with the miniature marshmallows in it. Although we're going to be adding marshmallows, I just like a lot of marshmallows when it comes to cocoa bombs, and especially in hot cocoa, because I just think it just adds to the taste. But that's just my preference. So all I'm doing is just setting up my hot cocoa here. So once we get our bombs out of the freezer, we are going to move right along. So I'm grabbing my, go ahead and opening up my marshmallows, because I like to have everything like already set, so that way when I start working, it just flows smoothly. So I have my chocolate here, and they are frozen, and I'm just going to gently pop them out. And keep in mind that if your sides are like thin, you can always take some of that additional chocolate that you have, and you can use your spoon again, or you can use a brush, whichever is easier for you. And you can put some more in there to thicken up those sides, because the sides are really important, because you want them to be really secure when we get ready to seal the cocoa bomb. All right, so I'm just going to take about 2 tablespoons of hot cocoa and put them into each one of my bombs. And then I'm just going to place in a handful of the marshmallows before we seal it up. So you want to take a hot pan, and this is fresh off the stove, and I'm going to place a piece of parchment paper onto the back of the pan. You want to be very careful because that pan is hot. And you're just going to take your cocoa bomb, the top of your bomb, and just kind of place it onto the bottom of the pan there. And this is when it melts the chocolate. This is just acting as a glue. So once you melt it, you're going to seal it to the top of the bomb, and then you'll repeat that process until it's done. Now on this one, I let my pan get a little bit too hot because I had to put it back on the stove, so it's kind of burning through the paper there. So be very careful with that. Once you're done sealing all of your bombs, you're just going to take your additional chocolate and drizzle it over the top, and then sprinkle your sprinkles, your birthday sprinkles over, and you have your birthday cocoa bombs. Make sure you hit the like button. Thank you.